Hi, welcome back to the Finley Formation. This is Brandon.
This is Gage.
And there's Jared.
Okay, we are getting close, just 2 weeks away from the start of the season, and we got one more week of playoffs. But these ones are really just about who's going to be on the roster anyway. The are not playoffs. I said playoffs of preseason, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this last preseason game is usually just who's going to stay on the roster. These guys are deep into their roster, so it's fun, but it's not as you're not going to probably see a lot of those rookies that you want to watch. High pick rookies and players. But yeah, so last time we did the division rankings and our playoff seedings. So this time we are going to go into our playoff predictions. We'll start with Gage, and we're going to start in the NFC.
Cool. So just a refresher on the seeding I had the Eagles taking the first seed, the Vikings taking the second seed, the Niners in the third, the Bucks in the fourth, the Lions in the fifth, the Commanders in the sixth, and the Packers in the seventh. Which leads me into my second seed, seventh seed game, which is Vikings Packers, and I got the Vikings taking it 24-7. And then my third and sixth seed game, I got the Niners beating the Commanders in another 24-7 game with Deebo Samuel having 4 targets and 0 catches. And then that leads me into my 4 and 5 game, and I got the underdog here, get the fifth seed, the Lions taking the Bucks out.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I could see that.
The my my rankings went Philadelphia number 1, Green Bay number 2, LA Rams 3, Tampa Bay Bucks 4, and then my wild card team San Francisco 5, Detroit 6, and Dallas 7. So Philadelphia gets the bye. My 2-7 matchup, Green Bay versus Dallas. I have Green Bay beating Dallas in that game. Then 3 versus 6, LA Rams versus Detroit. I have Detroit advancing as well. I think Detroit's just a wagon. No really indication. I think them and Green Bay are probably going to be neck and neck for the division. So, I mean, I can see Detroit figuring it out with their coordinator situation there towards the end of the season. And, I mean, they have one of the best rosters
Yeah, their
in the game.
personnel
So
group is crazy on offense,
I have,
especially offense.
yep, I have them advancing into the divisional. And then Tampa Bay, number 4 versus 5, San Francisco. I do have San Francisco advancing to the divisional round as well.
I really like that you guys got the Niners up so high on your position. So that's cool. Um, for me, I've got the Eagles at 1, Lions at 2, Rams at 3, Bucks at 4, which isn't that different from what we have. I think you had the Vikings there, but it was we both have NFC North in second.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have the Cowboys at 5, Vikings at 6, and the Niners at 7. So I actually have the Niners coming in last. I don't know. I mean, I really hope I'm wrong. I hope you guys are right. Hopefully, they're up a little bit higher than the 7 pick because they're facing the Lions. And my 2-7 pick, I do have the Lions beating the Niners. But like we said earlier, I see them going into if they do face the Commanders, I see them winning that. Or if they face the Bucks, I could see them beating them. But like we just said, the Lions are just so good. So hopefully they do get a higher seeding. In my game 2, the Rams versus the Vikings, I had the Vikings pulling this one out, but that one would be such a close matchup. Like they're both going to have great defenses. I just think the Vikings might be able to do a little bit more on offense there. And then I think it would be my 4-5 Bucks versus Cowboys. I had the Bucks edging out the Cowboys there. Even though I don't trust their defense that much, I think at home they're going to be able to pull that away or pull that out. So
I
Cool.
think we're
that's
start questioning your fandom of the 49ers.
I know.
Jeez.
Now, do we want to continue the NFC side, or do we want to go first round AFC?
Up to you guys. What do you think?
It don't matter to me.
Okay, let's go. Let's just keep doing NFC.
Push
Okay.
through the
Do it.
NFC?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so my teams left are the first seeded Eagles, the second seeded Vikings, the third seeded Niners, and the fifth seeded Lions. So that means the first matchup is first seeded Eagles versus fifth seeded Lions in Philadelphia. I think that's the reason the Eagles are taking this one home and eliminating the Lions in the divisional round.
Okay.
And then that leaves me with the Vikings Niners, which would be huge for huge party probably because me and my
Yeah.
Brandon here are Niners fans, and his brother, my uncle, and my cousin are both Vikings fans. So it'd be
Yep,
Ooh.
that'd be a fun one.
a
Yep.
fun
I
one.
like that.
And I think the Vikings are getting to this point as always, and I think the Minnesota Vikings are losing in the divisional round.
Yeah, I could see that.
My divisional round, I have the same matchup. So I have Philadelphia versus the number 6 seed, which is Detroit. So it's the same matchup that Gage had. In that one, I actually have Detroit prevailing in Philadelphia. I think they have a offense that's geared that can go into Philadelphia, whether it's crappy weather or not, that they have such a good running game with Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery that they can just ground and pound. I think they probably have an offensive line that's kind of maybe like a tier below Philadelphia's, but I think having those two different backs, I can see giving Philadelphia a fit to where they don't have to sit there and try to pass in that weather like the LA Rams had to do last year.
Mm.
So I have Detroit moving on. And in the 2-6 or the 2-5 matchup, I have Green Bay versus San Francisco. I think San Francisco having to go to Green Bay this time around, it's not going to fare well for them. So
Last
I
time
have,
they went to the Green Bay in this round, we beat them 20. It was 28-0 at halftime. By the way.
well, I think it was 10-7, wasn't it, when they would beat the Packers in Green Bay when Green Bay was the number 1 seed?
Wasn't that the game we had Raheem Mostert go for 224?
No, that was in San Francisco though.
Was it?
Yeah. The last time they played Green Bay in Green Bay is San Francisco won without scoring an offensive touchdown. They
Oh.
had the blocked kick.
Yeah.
Something else. I can't
Okay, but
remember.
our last playoff game against them was it that 10-7 game in the playoffs?
No, it
Or
was.
was it that
It was
one
just
with
the
Raheem?
one few years ago when Greenlaw picked it off
Yeah.
against Love in the rainstorm. I think
Yeah.
wasn't it? That was in
Yes.
San Francisco.
Sounds right.
But I think if San Francisco has to go to Green Bay and play in that weather, I just think, and I've picked Green Bay to win the division and the NFC North. I just think this is their year to go to the NFC Championship game. So I have Green Bay versus Detroit in the NFC Championship game.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. So here, I got the Lions, which was my number 2, and they're gonna. I guess I'll go with number 1, the Eagles. We'll start there. We'll go Eagles, and they're gonna face the Vikings there, which come in at number 5, I think for me, or number 6. So they were the underdog that beat the Rams. Okay, I can't read my own handwriting. Anyway, so the Eagles are gonna. I think they're gonna beat the Vikings at home. I think that they're going to be able to run the ball. They're going to keep it away from that Vikings offense. So I'm going with the Eagles to move on to the NFC Championship. And then in the 2-4 matchup, which I have the Lions versus the Bucks, I think the Lions are going to exact some revenge on the Buccaneers because the Buccaneers went in there last year into Detroit and beat them at home. But I think the Lions are probably going to run away with that one and make it into the NFC Championship. So I got the Lions-Eagles NFC Championship.
All right.
Cool. Okay, so my NFC Championship ends up being Eagles-Niners. This might sound biased, but when the Niners win the NFC West, they're either they're either NFC Conference Championship or Super Bowl, and they're going to edge out the Eagles because Fred Warner's going to be all over Saquon. So Saquon will only put up 130 yards instead of 230
Yep.
against the Niners, and then they'll force it to Jalen, and he'll throw like 4 interceptions because Jalen sucks, and the Niners will take that one.
Yeah,
Super
you're
Bowl.
you're kind of hoping that all the rookies kind of gel by that point and kind of understand Salah's system, and Salah has them playing well. And I think if San Francisco can stay healthy, and then second half of the year once they get all their receivers back finally, I think their offense is just going to click, and I think that would give enough time for Salah to keep that defense, in games. And then by the time he gets them in playoff mode, I think he'll have all those rookies and everybody playing well together. So
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you.
If you got Nick Martin flying around like he did in that preseason game,
Yeah.
laying smacks
Yeah.
like that, that'll
And
be
I'm just
good.
out the way he's been playing all through OTAs. And
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that guy's gonna have to come on big because I really feel like they're gonna need, some depth there at corner,
Yeah.
and some guys are just gonna have to come
Right.
in and actually play. So
Yeah.
so I think it's kind of a long shot in my view of what you're saying, but it's there. They still have a lot of good pieces, and they can
Mhm.
still do it. But it is a long shot. I hope you're right though.
My NFC Championship, like I said, I had Green Bay number 2 versus number 6 Detroit. I think this is the year that Detroit finally makes it to a Super Bowl. I think they got the team. I think they got the head coach.
Physically impossible.
Yeah. So I'm predicting something that's never happened before. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I can see it. I think they've been on the cusp the last 2 years. 2 years ago and against San Francisco, they were up 24-7 at halftime. They squandered that to go to the Super Bowl last year. I think they had probably the best offense up there with Baltimore as far as points scored. They just had a defense that gave up too many or just as much points.
Because they had 13.
They said 13 injuries, yeah.
on defense.
13 of their 11
Yeah.
starters were injured.
Yeah.
So this year I'm predicting them to finally be healthy. This will be the year that I predicted Detroit to go to the Super Bowl.
Okay, I'm actually right there with you. I think it's going to be a tough fought game. I do think that at home the Lions are going to at Philadelphia. Sorry, I do think the Lions are going to be able to edge out the Eagles. If they're going to be healthy on defense, I think they're going to be able to slow the Eagles down enough on that run game, stop them enough, and then the Eagles or the Lions are just going to outscore them. So I like the Lions this year as well. I think they're due. I think that they've got great coaching, even though they lost their coordinators. But I would really like Dan Campbell, even though he is a little too risky. I think he will start kicking some field goals and doing what needs to be done. So yeah, I like the Lions going as well.
Cool.
So,
So we all got the Eagles, hearing their fans all year. The next thing you know, they get their asses beat in the NFC Championship. And
yep.
I think as much as I like Vic Fangio, I think I'm with Brandon. I think they just kind of lost some key pieces on that defense. It's hard to replicate defense year after year, being number one or number two. I think there's just going to be a big enough drop off to where they're going to have to rely on Jalen Hurts, where teams are going to kind of take away Saquon a little bit more this year. I think Saquon's going to have another good year. I don't think it's going to be a 2,000 year, but I think that defense is going to be leaky enough that teams are going to kind of get them in the playoffs.
Right. I definitely see Saquon making it. He's probably still going to be the rushing leader.
Yeah.
He's probably going to have that. So,
yeah.
All right. Move on to the AFC.
Yep. And
Okay.
just looked at it, and at least the wild card round all has the same seeds winning. So I have my seeding for one is number 1 Ravens, number 2 Bills, number 3 Broncos, number 4 Texans, number 5 Chiefs, number 6 Dolphins, number 7 Patriots. I got the second seed, 7th seed is Bills Patriots, and I got the Bills beating out the Patriots in Buffalo.
Who's your number 1 seed?
Ravens.
Oh, Ravens. Okay, sorry.
And then my 3rd seed, 6th seed game is Broncos Dolphins, and then I got the Broncos beating them in Denver. Then my 4-5 game, I got the 5th seeded Chiefs beating the Texans in Houston.
I still think it's so crazy you got the Dolphins going, but you really like that division though, huh?
Yeah.
That AFC East. So I think it's crazy just because it's like you hear the Dolphins in the playoffs. I mean, and it's weird to me because it's not like they haven't been in the playoffs, recently, but it's just weird because they just seem so dysfunctional.
Yeah,
they were
right
still were they 10-7, 9-8 last year
I think nine
With-
wins.
9 and
with
8.
that stretch of Tua missing those 4 games,
Yeah.
where they
Yeah.
couldn't
With
couldn't
Skylar
do
Thompson
anything.
in there.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if they can still do it as
Can
long as
sneak in.
Tyreek Hill is still kind of half what Tyreek Hill is, and then Jalen Waddle and A-Chain. So
yeah, it's going to be
wouldn't be
about
surprising.
health for them too because
Yeah.
they're not very deep. I don't think on either side of the ball.
Right.
So
Mm-mm.
My AFC playoffs seeding was Buffalo. To recap, Buffalo number 1, Baltimore 2, Kansas City 3, Houston 4, and then Denver 5, Cincinnati 6, and Jacksonville 7. So Buffalo with the first round bye. I had number 2 Baltimore versus Jacksonville. I have Baltimore moving on. I think Baltimore has the best roster, probably one of the best teams in the league. They just play in a harder division than Buffalo. That's why I have Buffalo number 1. Number 3 Kansas City versus Cincinnati. This is like the matchups that you kind of want to watch because Cincinnati and Kansas City's just been really great matchups in the playoffs every time that they meet.
right.
I do have Kansas City moving on. I think it's going to be a good game. I just can't pick against Kansas City until they actually start losing in the playoffs. And then number 4, Houston versus number 5, Denver. I have Denver moving on.
Okay, and even more surprising is when we read that off that you had Jacksonville. making the
Jacksonville,
playoffs.
yep.
That's so
So
crazy.
I wish I was here to kind of explain my theory because I think Jacksonville's offense is going to be good enough to kind of carry them with Liam Cohen being there. I think Lawrence is good enough. I think he's proven 2 years ago that he can put up really good numbers. And then with the addition of Travis Hunter, and then you have Brian Thomas Jr. And then it was all based off of schedule. So I pretty much based it off of like the last 6 weeks of the season where like playoff seeding and teams trying to get in the playoffs. Jacksonville has a really easy schedule compared to I think I had compared them against Miami, Pittsburgh, and then like another team that I was kind of deciding, between that 7th seed. So
Okay.
it was all based off of the last
Right.
month of
Couple
the
easy
schedule.
wins against Tennessee and
was.
probably the Colts.
It was. So they had Tennessee twice. They had the Colts in there twice in the last 8 weeks of the season. So I was like, they
Yeah.
could go 6-1.
Get one in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just those were the 2 surprises. I think I don't think I had any surprises on my NFL or my AFC side. It was I think the Bills, like you said, I mean, it wasn't just that they're the best team in the AFC. It's
Mhm.
that I honestly feel like they have the easiest path to the number 1 seed in the AFC. So I agree with
And
you.
I disagree, but
So got the
you guys will
Bills.
learn eventually.
Bills at 1, Ravens at 2. I got the Broncos at 3, the Texans at 4. I got the Kansas City at 5, Cincy at 6, and Steelers at 7. So with the 2-7 matchup, Ravens versus Steelers, I don't think this is going to be that close of a game, even though the Steelers do play the Ravens tough usually, but I think the Ravens are just going to outclass them. They've got too much. Even if the Steelers stay up with them in the first half, I think they're just able just to keep beating them up the whole game on defense and offense. So I like the Ravens moving on divisional round. Broncos at Cincinnati is my, I guess that would be the 3-6. This one's going to be a close game, I feel like, in Denver, but I do see the Broncos pulling that one out and beating Cincinnati. I think that Cincinnati, we talked about their defense. You can't say enough about that. Last year, if they continue that way, which there's no reason to say that they're not, because they haven't really didn't go out and get that many pieces. But I think that they're still going to put points on everybody. So anyway, I still got the Broncos winning that one, going to division. Then you got Texas versus the Chiefs. I think this one I have that one being in Houston this year, and I actually like the Texans to pull it out over the Chiefs on this one. And the reason, I mean, I think they were close. We've talked about that. They almost had them, and so yeah, I like the Texas. Sorry, I was watching the dog. She hit the damn cord for the camera again. But yeah, I do. I like the Texans to beat knock the Chiefs out of the playoffs and their reign a little bit. So
Cool. On to the divisional round. So my matchups here are the 1-seeded Ravens and the 5th-seeded Chiefs.
Ooh, yeah.
And I got the Chiefs getting eliminated in Baltimore with the most stacked roster in the league being the Ravens. And they're, like I said, I think the Chiefs got worse, and the only reason they make the playoffs this year is Andy Reid. That's how I fully feel about the Chiefs. So yeah, they're going to get blown out by Baltimore in like a 31-13 win.
Okay.
And then leads me to 2 and 3, which is Bills Broncos. We seen it last year when James Cook went for 150 on their defense with a bunch of inside handoffs, and I think you'll see a replica of that. I know you added Dre Greenlaw, Hufanga, and a couple other pieces, but I think the Bills just get nitty gritty and they run it up the middle. I think they could do it on any team in the league.
okay, so you got the Bills moving on.
Yep.
Okay.
You know what? I have the same matchups. They're just different order. So I have number 1 Buffalo versus number 5 Denver. I think I agree with the same one. So going back to the Super Wild Card, Houston versus Denver, whoever scores like probably 10 points in that game is probably going to win because you guys know I like Houston's defense. Denver's defense is one of the top defenses in the league. So first 1 to 10 probably.
So you have
wins in
that matchup as well.
So I had Buffalo versus Denver. I agree with what Gage said. I think Denver's going to have to travel all the way out to Buffalo. Buffalo just knows how to play in the playoffs. Their offense has always been really good in the playoffs the last couple of years. It's always been their defense that lets them down. But I don't think Denver has quite the firepower on offense to keep up with teams in the playoffs. I like them winning the wild card game, getting in the divisional, but I think that's where they stop against Buffalo. And then I do have Kansas City against Baltimore in the same matchup, and I agree with everything that Gage said. Again, Baltimore is going to move on this time. I think their roster is just stacked. I think they are finally going to get over that hump of playoff losses to Kansas City or Buffalo. So I really like Baltimore this year. I think they're going to come in with probably a different mindset in the playoffs. Plus, Kansas City has to go back to Baltimore in Baltimore. So
okay,
I have Baltimore moving on with Buffalo in the AFC Championship game.
Okay. And you were mentioning something about the Texans and the Kansas City one.
It was it was first round, Houston versus Denver, where I like both of those defenses are probably going to be top 5 defenses.
Okay, gotcha.
So it might be the first 1 to 10 wins in that game.
Gotcha. Okay, no, and I totally agree. That's why I went with the Texans over KC because I do feel like their defense is really, really good, and they started showing up. I don't think they showed up in the first part of the season last year, but then when you look at it, when we started looking back on it, it was like, wow, they are actually really good. So I don't think it's going to take a great defense to stop the players. I like Patrick Mahomes. It does take a good defense to stop him, but it's going to take a great defense to stop that entire system. And I think the Texans are there, but personnel-wise, it's not as strong as like what you're saying too. So I totally agree. I think Texans are great. But moving on, I got the number 1 seed Bills versus the number 4 seed Texans. I think the Bills are going to run away with this one. I think this one probably won't even be that close. I think the Bills' defense is going to play a lot better this year in the playoffs. I think they're going to come to play, and if they're healthy, they're probably going to be chasing C.J. Stroud around that whole damn field a lot. Their offensive line is not great. So I like the Bills moving on to the AFC Championship, and then you got the Ravens-Broncos. For the same reason, just because the Broncos are going on the road and they're got to go to Baltimore, and the Ravens are quite possibly the best team in the NFL. So I do think the Ravens are going to beat the Broncos in Baltimore. So it's gonna. I got the Bills Ravens in the AFC Championship.
Okay, so we all have different paths there, but we all got Bills
Yeah,
Ravens.
we did. Yeah,
Mhm.
yep.
Cool. Well, going in my AFC Conference Championship, it's in Baltimore. But Josh Allen just came off an MVP. He's super confident. All his team's super confident in him, and I think it's their year. I think we're seeing the Buffalo Bills beating out the Ravens in
Right.
Baltimore. We're seeing Josh Allen in the Super Bowl.
Do you have the Bills versus the Niners in the Super Bowl? I like that. That'd
Yep.
be an
That
old
would be
school. Yeah,
awesome.
heck yeah, I like that. Same Buffalo versus Baltimore. This time though, I just can't get past the fact of Baltimore having the best roster, and I just can't get over the fact of Josh Allen just not having the same weapons that Baltimore has on offense. Um, just the way that second half kind of played out last year in the playoffs, how Baltimore kind of seemed like they dominated that second half and they were trying to run away with it until Mark Andrews must have had some money betted on that game because he gave it away twice in that fourth quarter.
Right.
So I have Baltimore moving on. I have Baltimore versus Detroit in the Super Bowl.
Okay. Same thing. You couldn't have said it any better. I do. I feel like Josh Allen had a big playmaker at wideout, I would probably have took them because they're gonna need it. They're gonna need some explosive plays down the stretch to win this game, and I don't think they're gonna be there. So I as much as I wanted to pick Josh Allen to go to the Super Bowl finally, I got the Ravens going. I got Lions Ravens as well. So
Okay, here in February, you guys will find out how wrong you are.
I sure hope so.
I hope I am too, man. I would like to watch the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl again.
Heck yeah. All right, so who do you got winning that Super Bowl?
Well, this one, I mean, it's either way, it's a win-win situation because it's either Josh Allen
Yeah.
or it's the 49ers. So
Yeah.
I can't be mad, but the way I'll be more upset is the way I think it's going to go, and I think Joshua Allen is going to win his first Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
I like that.
If they did go and played in February, and I do feel like probably it's going to be the Bills too. If it goes down like that, I could see that because I don't know if the Niners have what it takes to stop Josh Allen in that offense. But I mean, if they can get to him, good. Niners would be able to take it, but they would have to get to him first, and he does not get sacked a lot. So.
No.
Here's something we didn't talk about, but the Super Bowl is in Santa Clara this year, so
Is
the
it?
Niners would be
Yes,
playing at
yes.
home.
Oh, at home.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That might be a little something we did. I totally forgot about it until we just
Yeah.
started talking about the Niners.
That's what I mean. I probably knew it, but I didn't think
Yeah.
about it. I forgot.
He doesn't change a damn thing.
it-
The Bills
yeah.
are beating them in Santa Clara. It's so sad. But
My Super Bowl, like I said, Baltimore versus Detroit. To me, besides I guess Philadelphia, but these might be the two best rosters on paper as
Mhm.
far as like offensive line, skill players, defenses. Yeah, I think Detroit's defense is going to be probably really good again when they're all healthy. Aiden Hutchinson coming back. He was on pace to be Defensive Player of the Year. They got Brian Branch
No, he
back
wasn't.
there. I think he had like 7.5 sacks
When
in
was
4
he?
games.
okay,
Yeah.
but you're going to give that over Fred Warner at that point in the league, who was on pace to be the first ever defensive MVP, or first in a long time.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, he was third ranked in every
Yeah, but
betting
when-
site ever.
When was the
for-
last time a linebacker got the defensive award? Defensive Player of the Year award.
I mean,
God.
I guess he probably
Ray
would have won
Lewis,
it.
maybe?
Well,
Did Ray Lewis get it?
I don't think he
Yeah,
ever did.
I don't
either.
know.
when was the last time we had a linebacker as good as Fred Warner?
Yeah, probably Ray Lewis.
He's the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I know what you're saying. I hear what you're.
I'm just saying
Aiden
he's
was-
he's healthy this year, so their
Yeah.
defense should be better.
Yeah,
But
but
I
he was
think-
like third in the running behind T.J. Watt and Fred Warner. So it's just crazy to see that he was on pace for it when he wasn't.
I know when you only have 7.5 sacks in 4 games,
Yeah,
a quarter
Yeah.
of the season.
Fred Warner had 4 and 6 interceptions, whatever the hell it was. But yeah, just 7.5
I
is
don't know
better.
if I don't know if he had a 4 at that point.
But I think Baltimore's going to win the Super Bowl this year. I think they just have too much talent. As long as they can stay healthy at wide receiver, I think that was what they were missing last year with Zay Flowers. I think if Zay Flowers played in the playoffs last year, it probably would have been a different story. Maybe. I know Gage really likes him. I don't like him as much, but I like him enough that if he was playing, that he probably
Yeah.
was a difference for them.
Oh hell yeah, for
And if-
them definitely.
Yeah, if he stays healthy, I think Baltimore's defense is probably the best in the league. They return pretty much everybody. Plus, they get who's that safety?
Jair.
No, Malik Starks
Oh,
or Starks,
yeah.
not Malik.
Malachi
Starks.
Starks. Yep.
So like we've always talked about, the rich getting richer. So
Mhm.
defense was playing top notch at the end of the year. So I can
And
see Baltimore winning it again.
I think a big thing too is Jair Alexander going there.
Mhm.
Right, that's
Yeah,
that
that's true. Yeah.
corner from Green Bay. I think that was huge. 'Cause that just like stacked onto their. They
Mhm.
got one of the best secondaries now.
Well, I
Um,
don't necessarily like it actually because they repositioned Kyle Hamilton back to safety,
Yeah, that's right.
and he was like barely even a top 15 safety, and then he became electrifying when they moved him corner. So he's going to fall back off a cliff because he's back to safety. So I don't think it added that much to their secondary. 'Cause for some reason, he just couldn't play in safety, and then they moved down to corner, and he was legendary.
Wow.
So
See, and I thought that it was smart move, but but I guess I didn't look in how he played it.
well, I think if they
but
leave, I mean,
Kyle
not
Hamilton was.
Jair
I think he's
Alexander
gonna
was
still
a
be
big
good.
addition if they ran Jair as left corner and Kyle Hamilton at right corner, but I think the reposition to safety just made it to where it was a null and void move because now they have mediocre safety,
I
good
think
corner.
I think either way, it's going to be really hard to pass on this team. And then they got a good front seven too. So I agree. I think the Lions are going to give them a hell of a shot. I think that it's going to be a very entertaining Super Bowl if this were to happen. Lions and them, and especially if the Lions continue on pace, like you were talking, like with where they were with their defense before they all got injured. Whether it's Aiden Hutchinson or that other defensive end that got hurt as well. I can't remember his name right now, but they were just dropping guys. And they had no pass rush, they had no pass defense, pretty much whatsoever going through the playoffs last time. And this time, they're still going to have enough there. I think the Ravens are going to win it basically by just ground and pound and then beat them up on
because
defense.
you can't stop Derrick
I
Henry.
think
and
it's
Lamar
probably going to be
Jackson.
like a 21-20, 21-17 type score. I think you're going to see a big defensive battle.
Oh, you do? I think if we see Ravens Lions, I think we see 35-34.
See some
42,
fireworks
41.
going on out there.
Yeah. So I think both teams are
I
going to
think
key
so
on to
too,
stop the
yeah,
run,
heck
and then
yeah.
you're going to have Amon Ra and Say Flowers both go for 150 and 2 tugs.
Maybe I like their defenses, but not at that point. And so yeah, that's what I got. I got the Ravens winning. So
Cool.
All right, well, you guys want to do some awards?
Yeah, we can knock that out. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're probably good to do that.
All right, so we're gonna pop in our season-ending awards here, which supposedly they all go in at the end of the season and not during the playoffs, which is hard to believe because they usually wait till about the championship round and then they declare them, and it's
Mhm.
usually a guy who's still in the playoffs.
Right.
So it's hard for me to believe that, But anyway, all right, we'll start with the MVP.
Oh, yeah, right.
MVP.
Unless you guys want to start from bottom up.
No, that's
but,
fine.
Yeah, let's start with MVP.
Yeah, so this might be the first time ever. I don't know if it's ever happened. But I got a back-to-back Joshua Allen, 2-time
Ooh.
MVP, back-to-back season.
I think, didn't Aaron Rodgers do it 2020 and 2021?
Yeah, that wouldn't
Yeah, he
surprise me.
did.
I think he did.
Yep. But yeah, I think Josh Allen out because he's gonna put up the same numbers. He might even have less interceptions because I think he threw 7, so he might do
Mhm.
less than that. And I think they didn't do anything to add to his offense, so I think it's gonna be he's just as big of a he's gonna play just as big of a role, and
Right.
they're gonna need him just as much. And I think he'll be able to put up the same numbers,
Yeah,
if not
okay.
better, and win it again.
Yep. I think you've seen that with his career too. Like every year, he's just getting better and better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, last year it wasn't like the big splashy plays. It was like he started taking care of the football and he wasn't turning it over at dumb situations and put his team in better situations.
Yeah.
To where like they were getting rid of Stephon Diggs and like, hey, we're gonna trot out a rookie receiver out there and give you like he pretty much did more with less. Is
Right.
pretty much what I'm saying.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if this will surprise Gage or not, or you, but I do have Patrick Mahomes going back and winning the MVP. I think the way that
Wow, that
season
is
ended
surprising.
last year, I think with his receivers being healthy, Rashee Rice, for some reason, probably won't be suspended until their schedule gets easy for some reason. I don't know if you saw that.
I
but
didn't really,
It
no.
didn't sound like he won't be suspended until like week 5 or week 6.
They got to go through all their
They're
legal
tough.
stuff. and all
Yeah,
that,
so their first like 5 or 4 games or something like that against really good opponents, so he'll be available for that. Hollywood Brown's going to be healthy for him, and then you got Xavier Worthy being healthy. So I think his receiving core this year is a lot better than way he ended last year, starting off the season. So I can see Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid dialing up, another
Get
4,500,
it done.
yard season or even 5.
Do you think they're going to go back to trying to let it rip?
I think so. I think, especially with the way and this is all predicted on the receiving
Right.
core being healthy. Rishi Rice being there at the beginning of the year, Hollywood Brown being healthy, and then Xavier Worthy kind of taking that next step. Plus, Andy Reid doesn't run the football very much anyway because he still has Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco. So
Yeah.
this is just an indication that I think he's going to let Patrick Mahomes throw the ball 50 times
Okay.
a game. So that's why I think
It
it's
is
just going to be.
surprising. It is surprising. I'm surprised that you picked that. I feel like, in my opinion, I mean, it could go that way. It really could because he's great. Andy Reid's great, and they, like you said, they can dial the stuff up. But I really kind of feel like this is obviously compared to my standings and everything, knocking them out in the first
Mhm.
round. I think this is going to be a down year for Kansas City a little bit. But
Well, I think no matter what, they just aren't that great in the regular season. Like they've had a couple 13-win years, but I think, I mean, of course, I had them at fifth seed. I think they're winning only 10 or 11 games. So
Yeah.
I just think you have 14-win teams. So
and the
he's
defenses
not
in
gonna
the
be in the running.
AFC or the AFC West are a lot better.
They are,
So
yeah.
that could, but yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
surprising, but I could see it.
Yep.
All right, here I think I picked this guy last year as well. I still think he was third in the running. I'm gonna go Joe Burrow.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think he could get that. I think if they make the playoffs, I know they say that doesn't go into it, but you got to be kidding me. It definitely does. I think that if Joe Burrow and them make the playoffs and he does it, I know he has two great wide receivers, but it's still going to be on all his shoulders. He's still got to get him the ball. So I think Joe Burrow will do it. And you said you had a dark horse for MVP.
I do.
So do I, kind of. Not necessarily a dark horse, but I had a guy who maybe people aren't thinking of anymore.
I do have Jordan Love as my dark horse.
Oh,
I got some
really?
stats to back it up. So in 2023, the November and January games, there was 10 games. He finished the season with 21 touchdown passes, and this is just these last 10 games of the season. 21 touchdown passes, 3 INTs, 2,600 yards. Then last year in 2024, November through January, the last 8 games of the season, he finished with 10 touchdowns, 2 INTs, and 1,700 yards. So for some reason, Jordan Love likes to play really good second half of the season.
Mhm.
And I want to say that maybe the first part of the season was because he got hurt in that opening game. And then he got really hurt at like week 17 or something like that, to where he didn't play in that last game or the second half of the last game. I think he got like rolled his ankle or something like
Okay.
that. So as if Jordan Love can kind of stay healthy, he's been known to put up the stats. And this is all predicated on me picking the Packers too, finishing second.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's part of it too.
Yeah, because it'll be huge for that team.
Right.
Mhm.
I agree with you. I agree with you on the fact that it'll be huge for that team.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll be in the
Right.
playoff running. or
Dark
not.
horse, man.
But I mean, the second half of the season for that guy in 2023, basically, 2023
Yeah.
got him that huge
It did,
contract.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what got him paid because he came out on fire
did, yeah.
at 2023 or in the second half, and it got him paid.
Mhm.
I don't know if he's played that good since then because that was a hell of a run for
It
8
was, yeah.
games. So, do you have a dark horse? Did you pick the second guy?
I think that biggest sleeper, and I know a lot of people are, oh, he's a fan, but I think Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you look at it as, I think he showed a one MVP in our last Super Bowl run. I think he was definitely there. I mean, the only reason he will never be in the runnings for most people is because of his weapons.
Mm-hmm.
But I think especially starting the year, if we have a good year, I'm thinking of 4-2, a 5-1 start before we get all our receivers back. I think it'll prove that he's MVP caliber.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he has as good a chance as Jordan Love.
Mhm.
I think
I
he has
agree,
as
yeah.
good a chance as the guy that I picked, which is the guy you picked last year.
Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott
Prescott, yeah.
is the kind of my dark horse, and he's obviously going to be up for 2 awards if he wins that one as well. But the guy, I think people are forgetting just how damn good that he can play regular season. Right?
Yeah.
Falls apart in the playoffs, but can play in the regular season.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to the offensive player of the year.
OPOY. This is where I got Derrick Henry. I think he's leading the league in rushing. I think he's going for 2,000 again.
Yeah, I like that.
But it's 2150, something like that. Can be just be an insane year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think he's winning offensive player of the year.
I like it.
My offensive player of the year.
He's
I
getting
think-
a little old, but I like it.
I do. I think what helps him too is Lamar Jackson. I think that takes a lot of pressure off of him. But I mean, last year, until he falls off the cliff, man, you might as well
right.
keep on riding him.
But on
until-
every single handoff, that DN has to stay home.
Yep.
Every
Yeah.
single time. So
My offensive player of the year, I'm picking the Jamar Chase to finally win it this year. He was a Triple Crown winner last year. I think if he can stay healthy, if Joe Burrow can stay healthy, and if T. Higgins can stay healthy, I think he's going to put up monster numbers again. It wouldn't surprise me if he did another Triple Crown, because he's going to get a shit ton of targets, a lot of yards, because that defense is going to give him a lot of
He's gonna have
opportunities.
to. Yep.
So I think his numbers are going to be outrageous again. if there is another like 1,900, 2,000 yard running back, I can see the running back getting it again, surpassing his numbers, and then it's all predicated on the Cardinals or the Bengals making the playoffs.
Right.
The Bengals don't make the playoffs, he's not going to win
Yep.
any
Yeah.
awards. Joe
Same.
Burrow's not going to win any awards. So
Yep.
Yeah, and then of course I got Ravens first seed, so that
Yeah.
helped a lot.
Yeah,
for
did, yeah.
Right.
Derrick Henry winning it.
Okay. For my offensive player of the year, I like Jahmyr Gibbs. I think at some point this year, I like the 1-2 punch between him and Montgomery, but I think at some point he's gonna take over, and they're just gonna keep going to that well. And I think it's not gonna be because he has really super high running, rushing yards, but it's also gonna be his passing yards and passing, his catches and yards there. So I think he's gonna be well over 2,000.
Scrimmage.
Scrimmage yards, probably closer to like 2,500, and he's going to have a ton of touchdowns. We're talking like in the 20s, almost like LT numbers.
Mhm.
So yeah, I like Jahmyr Gibbs there for the offensive player of the year. But I do have Jamar Chase as my second one that I fought between those guys. So I agree with that one. He could
So
definitely.
mine's the opposite. I had the dark horse as Jahmyr Gibbs.
Oh.
And it was the same reasoning. So I just based it off of the stats when David Montgomery got hurt. His usage and his carries just go up. His yardage went up, and I think he averaged like 180 total yards, 190 total yards in those 3 or 4 games
Yep.
with rushing and receiving combined. So I think it kind of opened up their eyes a little bit. Like, hey, we should probably utilize this guy a little bit
Yep.
more than what we do.
Yeah, my dark horse for this one is CMC again.
Mhm.
He's always should be in the running, and I think a lot of people are kind of forgetting about him a little bit because he was hurt all year.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the way, of course, they always hype up everybody, so you take it with a grain of salt. But he looks healthy in videos, and they say he's super healthy. And if he actually is, it's very easy. He's going for 2K scrimmage
Yep.
yards again. It'd be
Okay.
easy for him. So
Like it. All right, defense player of the year.
this is where I got Myles Garrett.
Oh,
I think
like
he's
it.
finally going to do it. I think he's probably going to be the sack leader this year.
Has he never won it? Has he won Defensive Player of the Year?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I think
If he hasn't, that'd be kind of surprising.
yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know,
Huh.
but
I think it's like every one of his best years is when TJ Watt goes for 21.5 sacks and takes
Oh,
it.
that makes sense.
But
I think having who's that defensive tackle that they drafted?
Mason Graham.
Mason Graham. I think that'll help him
Yep.
because if a lot of teams might kind of gear towards either him or he finally has somebody next to him that kind of take a little bit of the pressure off of him.
yeah, because then you just got to decide who is the more
Right.
important one to double team.
Yeah.
Like,
Heck
so
yeah.
yeah, I think his double team rate will drop. He'll probably still be a good 10% higher than TJ Watt's because right now it's double TJ Watt's
Mm-hmm.
double team rate. But
Yeah.
if it could even drop it to where it's 30% instead of 40%, he's getting an extra 4 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he's high teens for sacks this year.
Yeah.
And it's because I honestly think, he's just gonna have a lot of opportunity
Yeah.
to.
My defensive player of the year pick is Micah Parsons. It doesn't matter if he's playing for the Cowboys or whoever, if he decides to get traded, but seems like he's been like top 3 in voting. Besides last year, he got hurt last year. I think when the year that Nick Bosa won it, I think Parsons was number 2 in voting. He just puts up the numbers between quarterback pressures and sacks, and then combined tackles. In the, I think, 12 or 13 games he played in last year, he had 43 combined tackles, 30 solo, 12 tackles for loss, 12 sacks, and 46 pressures in like 12 or 13 games.
Mhm.
So I could see if he can stay healthy all season, he's going to put up the stats that he normally puts up, maybe even a little bit more, especially if the Cowboys do not give him a contract.
Right.
He might be a little pissed off and kind of show him, like,
Yep.
hey, either pay me or trade me type of deal, because they technically have him under contract at least for like 3 more years.
Right.
They want to franchise tag him.
Right.
Dark horse for me, I had 2. I could not decide between it. It's that Will Anderson Jr., Texans defensive end, and then Nick Bonito from the Broncos.
Yeah.
They both put
Nick
up.
Bonito?
Yeah, he had 13 and a half sacks last year. I think he's under the radar
Yeah.
type
Big
of person
time.
that nobody really pays attention to. Then when I was looking up his stats, I was like, holy cow, dude, he had a really good season.
Yeah,
Really
he's a
good.
dog.
So he had 13 and a half sacks. He's young. I think he's still only like 24 or 25.
Right.
And I can just see that Broncos defense being really good. I can see the Texans defense being really good. So if they're, top 2 defenses, top 3 defenses, and those guys are the best players on the defense.
I like
Yeah.
it.
It'll
I got
kinda go to
Myles
him.
Garrett as well. There. I mean, same reason that we've talked about. He's hard to go away from. I was thinking Micah Parsons too, but if he does take any time to sit out or not play, then
Mhm.
that would take that down. So I didn't put him just because of that. But I like Myles Garrett, and I didn't pencil one in for the dark horse because I was trying to think non-pass rusher.
Mhm.
And I could see Patrick Surtain getting it for the second time. Dude's a stud, and he also has that Jade Barron
Yeah,
on there
that's true.
on
Yeah,
the
I
other
forgot
side
about
now
that.
too. So I think that
And
the
Hufanga over top.
yep. So people are going to take more chances with him, which will give him more of a more chance to pad his stats this year. But so going away from that, I'd probably say Patrick
I
Surtain
like
was
that.
my
Yeah,
second one. So all right, coach of the year.
Coach of the year. This is where I got Dan Campbell.
I
I
like
think
that.
it's finally,
Yeah, I
it gets
like
his
that.
year. I think they're going to do it. Or my other option for it is Harbaugh for the Ravens.
I like that too. I went with Sean Payton. I think if the Broncos, I had them pretty high in the power rankings. If they could even win that division, if they sneak out winning that division, I could see Sean Payton winning it. Then my dark horse, so this goes with my Jacksonville pick, Liam Cohen. You,
Okay.
you take a team that's at bottom of the standings and
Yeah.
you make them a playoff team. It kind
Fifth
of always
overall
always
pick.
seems like they give it to those type of people, anyways.
Right.
It's
But
usually
they
never
don't.
like they never
They
give it
don't.
to Andy Reid. Like Andy
They
Reid
don't.
could probably win it every year, and I don't think he's ever won Coach of the Year. To be
Right,
honest
because
with
he
you.
never really has a down
Right.
season to have to come
Or
back
Kyle
from.
Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan's never won it either, which is I don't
Well,
know.
I think this last season kind of proved you wrong, though. Because, I mean, you got the Minnesota Vikings who went from 9-8 to 14
Oh, that's right. I forgot they
14
gave
and
it
3,
to
and then
KOC.
they
Huh?
gave it to
That's
KOC.
right.
Whereas it probably should have gone to the Commanders coach.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah.
And it could have went to who? Commanders. Yeah,
Yep.
Dan Quinn. That's why I couldn't remember. I didn't remember if Dan Quinn got that.
Nope,
And
it was Kevin
I
O'Connell.
kind of
true.
felt like
Yeah,
with
I
what
forgot
he
about
did
that
with
too,
that
yeah.
team.
He wasn't even the best coach on his own team. He
Yeah.
just got it for being the head coach. So.
Right. Right. Flores is definitely the best coach over there.
Yeah.
So I have Dan Campbell as well. I think,
I like that. Yeah.
he's, and they should give it to somebody. Just because you're in the running every season doesn't mean that,
Mm-hmm.
Well,
he created that whole culture.
That's
Right.
what I was going
He
to say.
should get it.
Especially, he should get it because he didn't come in, have first year success,
Right.
but he, over the last 4 years, has turned the Lions from dog shit to their
Oh,
Super Bowl contenders.
They were
yeah.
a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now they're taken serious like last 3 or 4 years every season.
Yep.
And it's funny because that you mentioned his name already, but my dark horse there is Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
And I have that just because if they do turn them around, and let's say they even exceed my expectations and go 13 wins, 13, 14 wins, and go from a 6-win team, that could definitely be like
Yeah.
you're talking about. So, yeah, I like Kyle Shanahan as
I
my
like that,
dark
yeah.
horse there. All right, offensive rookie of the year.
Offensive Rookie of the Year. This is where I got Cameron Ward.
I like that
Okay.
pick. Yeah.
He's a quarterback, so he's already in the lead for the award for being a quarterback. And then, I mean, he's going to be the only week 1 starter
Right.
rookie quarterback, so he's definitely in the
It's
best
tough
spot
to go
win it.
away from quarterbacks, but
It is.
Especially when you only have week one starting rookie.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I initially thought Cam Ward too, and then I was just like, I was trying to think of other players that's kind of stood out this preseason. I went with Trayvon Henderson, the
Mhm.
running back for the Patriots.
Mm.
I think with just his overall package, with like being a return specialist, being a running back, I think he's going to take over that role. I think he's going to be a weapon with Drake May. I think Drake May is probably going to kind of pepper him a little bit. He's going to take over that running back spot, I think, from Ramondre Stevenson. So
yeah.
I can
Yeah.
see him putting up some.
I thought about him, but I do think it's going to take a couple weeks for him to be
I think so,
fully
too.
taken over from
Yeah.
Ramondre. So I do think
Yeah.
his stats won't be as good as they could be.
So, actually, I got Travion Henderson
Oh,
as
do you?
well.
Oh, really?
And why I do is also goes into what you were just saying is I think Ramondre Stevenson is injured and he might not even play week 1, week 2.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
And I know that from fantasy football, but you guys can't pick Travion because I just gave you that tidbit. No, but yeah, Ramondre might be down, but I like Travion Henderson. He's showed how explosive he can be
Mhm.
in this preseason with 100-yard kickoff return.
Yeah.
He looks great between the lines. He can, bowl people over and stuff like that, but he's more of your speedy, he's explosive back, and he's gonna, like you say, catch it out of the backfield. So I like that. My dark horse there is Emeka Egbuka.
Okay. Yeah.
I think he went to the Commanders, right?
Bucks.
Bucks.
Bucks,
That's I meant,
Bucks.
yeah. One of those teams. But I like him because look at who he's got around him too, where, they're gonna have to deal with Mike Evans. They're gonna have to deal with Godwin. And this dude's gonna be open
Mhm.
a lot. So
Yeah, my dark horse for that one is that RJ Harvey.
I like
For the
that. Yeah.
Browns.
yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
I thought about that too. I went with like a true dark horse. I went with Tyler Warren, the tight end for the Colts. I don't know.
Oh wow, that would be cool.
Yeah,
though.
that would be awesome.
And I just think just the type of offense that he kind of, and I don't know if the Colts are going to use him this way, but the type of offense that he played in at Penn State, he pretty much did everything. He was kind of throwing passes. He was a
Mhm.
wildcat quarterback. He was catching passes. So if they can kind of utilize him just to get touches, I can see him kind of just
Right.
manufacture touches, kind of getting some
Did Brock
yardage that way.
Bowers get that last year? Or did they give it to Malik Neighbors?
I'm not
Or
sure.
no, they
it
gave
was
it to what's his name, the quarterback.
Jade,
That's right,
Jaden.
Jane Daniels.
But
Yeah,
I think Brock Bowers could have got it last
Yeah.
year if he didn't have Jaden Daniels.
right.
I think it should have been either Brock or Jade. Jade got it because
hmm
it shows him under QB and depth chart, and that's why he got it.
Right.
Yep. But yeah, and I don't think that I like that you took that and the fact that you're right. It's a quarterback league, but I don't know if the quarterbacks are going to outshine this year. So I think some of these other guys, it might be a year they get it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay, defensive rookie of the year.
Okay, so I think this guy might be a dark horse for somebody, and mine might be a little flipped. But I think who's going to win it is going to be Danny Stutzman,
Okay,
the middle linebacker. I was huge on him out of Oklahoma, ain't he?
Mhm.
I think so.
So huge on him throughout the year. And then there's also that the Carson Schwessinger out of
Yeah.
UCLA.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was a guy I was debating between Danny Stutzman and Carson Schwessinger. And then my dark horse is probably actually a high prediction. I just think he's probably my second guy behind Danny is Michael Williams.
Okay.
I like that. Yeah. My pick, probably not surprising. It's probably chalk too. Is Abdul Carter for the Giants defensive end. I think even if he gets 10 sacks, 11 sacks, it might just kind of put him over the edge. He's kind of looked pretty good, and then that defensive line actually might be really good. So I can see if he was the only person on that defensive line that maybe like teams would give towards him. But you got Dexter Lawrence that you got to block.
Yep.
You got Kayvon Thibodeau. You got Brian Burns. So you got he might have a whole bunch of one-on-ones in passing situations, so where he can kind of
And he got his ass kicked by tight end.
he
so.
did. Yeah, that's true.
It was pretty funny
Yeah.
too, because he
He
put out a
did.
tweet after
He
that. It's
did.
like, I ate that chip like the fact you got put on your ass. You do not eat anything.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you kind of got depleted, buddy.
Yeah.
My dark horse, and I talked about in the last episode that I was on. I really like Will Johnson. I
Mhm.
think the Cardinals probably aren't going to be that great, so he might be in a lot of situations where he gets opportunities to make either tackles or get INTs to where people might want to try to pick on him. But everything that I've seen, he kind of looks really good at playing corner. So
I don't think
Right.
he'll get enough INTs for it, but I do love the tackle thing. So
Yeah.
I think he has a good chance of
I
being
think
tackle
so too.
leader.
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah.
He's a hell of a tackler.
Yeah, I actually on my list I had the two guys that you just named, but I got them switched.
Oh, do you?
And not because he's a dark horse, but I got Will Johnson, Abdul Carter. But since you talked about those, I'm gonna go back and talk about Jade Barron.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna choose him as my dark horse instead of Abdul Carter because the opposite thing. I mean, you got Patrick Surtain over there.
That's true,
He's gonna have to make plays, and if he can play like he did in college, then he's gonna have a lot of chances of some interceptions and breaking up some passes. So
Mhm.
I'll go with him just because we already talked about Abdul. I mean, I think I didn't want to say Abdul Carter from the beginning because I do think that is probably going to be him. I think he's a stud, and that is the only strong position, whole position line is the defensive line for the
Yeah.
Giants. I can't think of any other position that you're like, damn, the whole group of them is good
Right.
on the Giants. I do think it is the defensive line. I mean, even though they have one hell of a rookie wide receiver, can't say that they got a great wide receiving core.
Mhm.
Oh, you
You
think
know.
just the Giants that you can't think of?
Yeah,
think
that's
of
what I'm
yourself?
saying.
Okay.
Yeah, just on their team, I can't think of any other position that where
Right.
side of the ball on either side of the ball where like they just kill it. But they do have great pass rushers, so it probably is going to be Abdul Carter, but don't sleep on Jade Barron.
Yeah.
Okay, comeback player of the year.
Comeback player. This is my favorite award to watch because it's always, well, not always, but it's usually some old guy. But
Tika.
I don't have an old guy taking it this year. My I think it's pretty clear cut choice here.
Tika. No.
I got Aiden Hutchinson
Yeah.
taking the comeback player of the year.
Oh,
And
Aiden?
my
I
dark
like
horse for it is a little bit more fun. I think it's going to be C.J. Stroud because he's kind of slept on all year, even though he put up decent stats. I think if he comes out and he blows up again like he did his rookie year, I think he could be in the running for it.
Mhm. I have Aiden Hutchinson as well. I think that's pretty easy, just with the type of injury that he had. I think he's going to put up big numbers again. But my dark horse, and I don't know, I think he's going to have a really good year, and I think you had him as your dark horse offensive player of the year. But CMC, I think if CMC puts up the numbers that he did,
That's true.
he only played in 3 games last year.
Mm-hmm. 3 or 4 games.
So if he comes out and puts up like, anywhere from like 1,500 to 2,000 all-purpose yards, I could see him winning it.
That is the comeback player that I have.
Oh, is it?
CMC. Yep.
And I had 2 guys, 2 Niners that I wanted to put for this award, but I already put them in 2 different
Oh, did
awards.
you?
CMC, rookie
Yeah.
or offensive player of the year, and I had Brock Purdy MVP.
Yeah.
If he wins the MVP, I don't see how he doesn't get
Right.
comeback player of the year too.
Yeah, I like CMC here just because of what you said. And let's face it, I mean, he's going to get every opportunity. He
Mhm.
come back for 1 or 2 games from his injury, 3
And
games
had
or whatever.
24 carries a game.
Yeah.
And I mean, Kyle Shanahan used him like he's just been healthy this
Yeah.
whole damn time. And
Mhm.
I think that, attributed to him going back out too. It was
Mhm.
ridiculous. It was a dumb move by Shanahan. So he's going to have all the opportunity. My dark horse here is still my dark horse for the MVP too is Dak Prescott.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Dude was out and he's going to come back. But I like the Aiden Hutchinson thing. I
Mhm.
didn't really think about that so much. I wasn't going defense with that one as much as offense. So I like the picks. This is fun. I like doing the awards. This is a good time. I don't know. I didn't see anything in there that was crazy, picks or anything. It's kind of
Guess
like I think
we'll find out in February
Yeah,
or
you're-
January how our picks.
right,
I think-
right.
Big Joe Burrow's crazy pick because you can't win an MVP if you win 8 games. So,
Yeah, we'll see, man. That might be it.
and
too.
they get lucked themselves into 8 wins last
If
year.
they would have made the playoffs last year, I think that he would have been. It'd have been close.
No
he might have
chance.
got her, dude.
No, I think the second you have 2 wide receivers combining for $60 million a year, I think you can't win it.
There was
Yeah, you
there's
should be
this-
like null and void of any award.
There's this crazy stat that I just saw the other day, and the Bengals last year were 4-4 in games where they scored more than 30 points on offense. So
They-
there was 8 games where they scored more than 30 points, but in those 8 games,
They were only 50%.
Yeah.
They were 4-4.
Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, that was fun. Gage has got some Pee Wee football to coach.
right.
Jared's got to go eat some dinner. He just came from doing some stuff. But yeah, we appreciate you listening. And once again, guys, be ready for our pick'em. It is coming up. We aren't that far away. We're just gonna do our weekly pick'em like we did last year. You're gonna pick each team who you think is gonna win. Monday game tiebreaker. If they have 2, it's gonna be the second game as a tiebreaker. I'll do a little video, put it out on Facebook, and let you know all the rules this year because we did change up a couple of things. But yeah, we appreciate you listening and give us a comment. Let us know what you think of our picks and who you might have chose. It doesn't even have to be against ours. Just tell us who you got for the awards. This was a fun episode, and I appreciate you listening.